Ship Happens, the show where crew tell their experiences of working on cruise ships, hosted by Jimmy Crew and Jolly Roger. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Ship Happens. I'm here with Jolly Roger and I'm Jimmy Crew. And we left on the last topic about the parties and the best topic, I guess, so far would be relationships on board because a lot of people always have questions, especially the guests, of what is it like to date on board, which is a lot
Always.
different than on land, because like I mentioned before, we have so many nationalities and you're stuck there for 6 to 8 months, even longer sometimes. So, are you allowed to date? That's one of the main questions that gets asked. One thing that is not allowed is fraternization with the guests. I mean, that's across the fleet, across any company. There's no fraternization with the guests whatsoever, which does happen for stories all the time. But if you get caught, that's immediate termination. But with the crew, you're almost encouraged to actually, find somebody to date or whatever. But along with that comes a lot of crazy stories because it's hard to have a relationship on board, just talking about especially with the cultural differences, whatever, that some things are normal for one country, some things are different for another one. So but it does happen, like there's a lot of successful and beautiful stories of crew members that met on board and then they go back to their countries, which again, it's also a hard part to keep a relationship going because you have somebody from one continent dating somebody from another continent, and the only glue together is getting the same ship together and working on the same contract. Which again, there's a lot of beautiful love stories when it comes to that, but also, and the best part, or not the best part, but the sad ones are the ones
The,
that
the
are
most
just
interesting
the
part.
most interesting ones are the ones that you see on board that you're just like, okay, aren't you married, or aren't you don't you have a boyfriend back home, and this and that. And of course on the ship, it's kind of like what happens on the ship stays on the ship, but the stories are just incredible to hear, and I remember my first contract. When I first came on board, like I mentioned, I stepped on board, never been on a ship, didn't know what the life was like, and of course, I met all these international people, and I was able to meet after I think 2 weeks. I met a beautiful girl, super nice, and we got along super nice and whatnot, and we started dating. But little did I know was that after I finished my training, so it happens that I got assigned to another ship, in a different city, far away from her, and that was basically the end of it. So sometimes you do get lucky that you get to see the person again, or you
You really moved
coincide that you
fast
get
there, huh?
well, well, I mean, you tell me. I mean, it's and that's another thing, that on the ship, life kind of works faster than on land, because one week is the way I see it is like one week is a month on land because again, you're with these people 24/7. I mean, there's no
It's
escaping,
like
you're on
dog years.
Ex
It's like dog years.
Basically, yeah, that's a good analogy, because again, you meet somebody and in a week you kind of know a lot of what would take you like lots of dating, lots of dates, to actually find out about somebody else. So obviously I met this girl, in 2 weeks we were talking, another 2 weeks dating, and then boom, I get with like, oh, you're going to another ship. And of course it was sad, and that was probably one of the hardest parts about working on ships, that you meet so many amazing people and then it's sad, even friends as well, like not just girlfriend boyfriend 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 girlfriend girlfriend relationships, it's also friendships that you just like, you're so sad that when the contract's over that you have to go back home, and you chances are it's going to be hard to see them again unless you're able to travel to them, or get another assignment on the same ship. So with that being said, also, you get to see a lot of people that either have boyfriends or girlfriends on other ships, and they don't see each other for a few months, and then next thing you know they're with somebody else, and the other person on the other ship's like, hey, did you hear that this guy is with another girl? And that's where some of the drama starts, and some of the most amazing stories that I've heard of people, I guess, not being faithful happen, so it's hard, to have a long distance relationship, but uh, on the ship, I think it's a little bit harder. What do you think, Jolly Roger?
Oh, well, it is. It's complicated. Let's put it like that.
It's
I mean,
complicated.
It is. It's really complicated, and there's so many. First of all, the cultural thing that you mentioned,
Mhm.
you need to understand. I mean, other cultures. Maybe you like a girl or a guy, but then once you get to talk and to get to know each other, I mean, you do realize that sometimes the way they talk is, and the language barrier is also there. Sometimes you cannot express your English is not good enough, to express your feelings, and you don't understand each other, and
But
it can be misunderstood.
in bed you don't need to speak, right?
Yeah, yeah, but
So
before
the
you get to
language
bed, I
goes
mean,
out the
sometimes
door.
sometimes you need to get to bed, but yeah, yeah, that can be also lead to some funny situations. But yeah, I get these questions from the guests again, many times. One of the most asked questions is, do you guys allow to date each other? Is there a
Mhm.
couple? Do you got guys allowed to marry? And I said, yes, of course. I mean, even like much more than that.
Yeah,
It's
because I mean, we get free condoms, we get, like, also consultations when it comes to
we
that,
all
so
adults. We all,
yes,
far away from home. You're feeling lonely. By default, you're feeling lonely. Just
of
because
course,
you're
yeah,
away from home. And then, of course, you seek similar people to you, friends, in the first place, and then relationships. Some people really love to be in a relationship, like steady relationship, and
yeah,
then
they can't be
they
alone.
they cannot be alone. They need someone in their cabin. They practically engaged, as you said. Like, the time passes much more fast than on the land,
Right.
because again, you see that girl or a boy for like
24/7.
24/7. Like, in the first 3 days, you seen them three times in a bar, right? So that's the 3 dates right there, right?
Mhm.
And back home, like, you need to wait for
1
weekend and
week, and
Friday,
then,
and
"Oh, I'm
then
working, I
this.
can't see you till next week," or
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot
So
harder.
it's a lot harder, and they know you, and they get to know you much faster on the ship. And
Absolutely.
this is we do have on the ships people that get married. We have people that come, that they're married back home, but they come on the ships, and they leave wife and children, or husband and children even, back home, so they also feeling lonely. I mean, some people are faithful to their partners, and they
Right.
do not mess around. This is not like complete everybody, hooking up with everybody. I mean, you still have people that are really into relationships, or people that are faithful to their partners that
Yeah.
are not on
And it's
board.
tough, it's a lot tougher,
It
because
it is tough. It is tough.
yeah,
But
and that's the
we
thing,
actually. Mhm.
sorry to interrupt you, but the thing is, like, yeah, people, oh no, I'm very faithful, whatever. And I dated, some people, or I dated some girls that were in a relationship back home, and obviously, we started dating, and I found out after. I was like, oh, why didn't you tell me? It's like, oh, well, I'm lonely and whatever. So I mean, that happens all the time. So it's a lot harder, and I would say it's harder on the ship because for example, if you're home, or like say military, for example, right, that there's no fraternization allowed, so you really have no distractions. But when you're talking about the distraction that you have on board, you're like, oh, I'm faithful. 1 month, yeah, can pass, and you're like, yeah, I still miss my hubby back home or whatever. But 2 months, and you're exposed to all these, you know, uh, people that are amazing, beautiful, whatever, that you also have a
Mm,
connection with. And that's when you're the test really comes in. And for the most part, I mean, I don't want to general generalize or stereotype, but I mean, for the most part, it's very hard to keep faith, be faithful. But when you're exposed to all this, the parties and the drinking and whatnot, and you're not going to see this other person or your significant other for 6 to 8 months, and unfortunately, that's the case when it comes to when you're
well,
separated by somebody, when you're working on a ship. And like I said, I've seen many couples that are happily married, and they don't see each other for 8 months, and they trust each other, and they're
but
faithful.
let me
But
ask you. Let me
for the
ask you.
majority of
Let
the
me ask you
time, I've seen
this.
a lot of things that I'm like, what?
Hold on, hold on. Let me
Tell
ask
me,
you
tell
this:
me.
if you're married, and your girlfriend is working on the ship, would you let her? Would you stay home and just trust her to
You know
be to
what?
go on the ship for
After
6 months?
after what I've seen and experienced and lived through 5 years, I always
Okay.
said that, I put my foot in my mouth, because I said, like, you know what? After what I've seen, I will never date a girl, if we're on the ship, okay, and I was always very honest. I mean, not to say that I was a saint or whatever, but I was always honest. Like, listen, I'm here on the ship with you. Let's have a relationship for like 6 months or 8 months or whatever months we have left. And chances are I'm not going to go to your country because I mean I can't afford to go halfway around the world, uh, and you can't come to the U.S. So it sucks. Let's have a good time here on the ship. If I see you in the future, okay, let's do that. So that was the thing. So, but I also said that I would never date anybody that works on a cruise ship because of what I've seen. And of course, my dumbass ended up, and this is not even know, even after I'm not working on ships, I started seeing this girl that works on ships, and she went back to ships, and we were talking into seeing each other, and we're gonna, see you in some ports and whatever. And guess what? After her first crew party, she met a guy, and that was the end of that. So I was like, okay,
No.
see, lesson learned. You fell into your own rule, and that's what happened. So again, for me personally, I would never date anybody knowing that, if I was like in a different situation, like I said, like on land, and my girlfriend or, like, if we're it's separated by, short terms of time, but I know she's at home, I feel a little bit safer because she's not exposed to everything that you're exposed to on cruise ships, which is the temptation. Because, like I
Mm.
said, you have the taste of the entire world there, and it's hard. You're gonna find somebody that you get along with and that's there for you like every day. Because again, you're with that person 24/7. Here on land, again, you might see the temptation on the weekends. That you go out with the friends or whatever. But on the
But don't you
ship,
think
oh,
that's a
every day.
that's a good test for the relationship? Like, because I
I don't want to.
honestly
I don't
know
want.
some people.
I don't want those tests. I don't want to test. Hell
but
no! It is a
but
good test,
is
and
isn't it better if she leaves you like in 3 weeks and then you get over it, then you marry her, have children, and then like with 5 years of marriage she go to some party and find someone? It's better to, this is we can look at it that way. I mean, because I still know, not it's not rare to have some people that I know they're in relationships and their partner is not on board
oh
and they still
yes.
go the entire contract without hooking up with anyone.
Yeah, but also
So
I've
so
also saw, and I also saw that some crew members that were married or just have their boyfriend girlfriends, they actually allowed them. They're like, listen, what you do on the ship, that's up to you. Have fun. I'm not gonna be jealous or whatever. And they actually were in relationships on cruise ships, but as soon as the girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, whatever came on board, it was like, okay, listen, my girlfriend here on the ship, you have to go hide, and nothing's happening,
oh
and also
wow.
coming back home. Yeah, like that was shocking to me too, because I'm like, wait, so you're telling me that you have a boyfriend or a husband back home, and he gave it permission to do that. And I mean, I guess that comes with, like, again, the different nationalities and cultures, whatever, that they allow that, but for me personally, I wouldn't be able to share that. But again, if you're honest, then yeah, by all means, have fun, and we'll talk later, and that's it. And sometimes, it's better to just end the relationship, which is usually what I did, and then, like, okay, you know what? If we see each other again, let's see what else
I
happens,
still
But
think it's a good test. I still think it's the perfect test to put them in a situation where there's very much tempting and there's much temptation, and see how they work it out. If they can stay if they can stay loyal to you, I mean, they're the keeper. If
I don't want that test, because then I'll be like,
ah
oh shoot, it's like, you're purposely putting your relationship at risk, knowing what happens and what you've seen. So I would never do that, like I said. And
eh,
again, my dumb ass actually did it, and I was like, oh shoot, Manny. But then again, you fell for your own rule, so that's what it is. And now, like I said, the amazing part of not working on ships is that I get to travel now, and I get to see all these countries through the eyes of the local people that I met.
you
Some
would
ex
rather
girlfriends.
live in oblivion, right?
I'd rather not know. I'd rather not know. But then again, I
The-
always overthink things, and I know it's like, oh my
yeah,
gosh,
yeah.
and I know what she's doing right now, and
Me
I
too. I'm the
know.
same. Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly.
But
I mean,
unlike you, I never even try to. I mean, tried, but
did you have any
I was
relationships on board? Like,
no, not really, not really. I had some my partners like tempting to build a relationship, but I cut that in
so
in the beginning.
you're more cold
I'm like,
hearted than I am.
yeah, I'm like no, I'm because I was there. I realized that because this is the environment that You can never. This is perfect for like single people that just want to,
Right.
experiment and take things out of their system, or because this is the perfect environment for that. And I really
Right.
want that, and I did. And I'm not saying I was like very promiscuous, but I was much more promiscuous than on land.
Oh,
And because I wanted to be, you go ship to ship and you meet all these wonderful people,
exactly.
and
Yeah.
people that I don't get to meet in my own country. I mean, you meet, I was introduced to people from Latin countries, which is a phenomenon to me. Like I love, people from South America, from Mexico, and all the South countries. This is very passionate, very, romantic, and
Right.
very
That you normally
very
don't
very
have at
cultural.
home. It's different, right?
I
Yeah.
don't have that at home, and it was so interesting to me, and I wanted to try that, dating and sleeping around,
Taste of
and
the world. You have the
taste
taste of the
of the
world.
nations, yes.
Yeah.
And then again, of course, you have people from Asia, and you have people from India, and you have people from you have black people, which also, like it's from Caribbean. And this is also such amazing culture, and it's such amazing amazing people, fascinating, how they, from their food, from how they look at the relationships, from how they, everything. And so I don't know, this is to me, this was really like an adventure. And it's not
Yes.
just,
Yeah.
it wasn't just not just sleeping around, but also just, maybe talking and just
No, friendships, like I
see
said, I mean, like, for the most part, I mean,
friendships. Yeah,
especially the friendships that you build, right? Because I mean,
to
you
meet
also have
and even
romantic
try,
relationships, but also just
even
friendships
try
that
romantic relationship, even try, just to see how we're gonna click with all these different cultures and different approach. And also age differences on the ship, we all the same, but you have people from like 22 years old until like 50 years old working on the
a minimum
ships.
age is 18, right? Or 20 or 21.
Minimum age is 18, but they rarely employ 18-year-olds because of the 21
Yeah, policy
drinking
in the US, yeah.
policy,
Yeah,
right?
so you're
So
right. Because I mean, the youngest I think I ever met in the whole 5 years was, like, 21 or 22, so
I met few 18-year-olds, but they were not allowed to have the card for the
ah,
bar and things like
that's
that.
right, yes, I remember
But
that.
there was only like maybe like a handful, or out of the like thousands that I met. So this is 21 and above is usually the age that
Mhm.
you can find on the ship.
So,
But
again, there's no
so
limit
many,
of who you can date on the ship, because
absolutely not.
there's everything's allowed, as far as dating,
So you have
so I mean,
happy
there's no
stories, you have
limitation.
happy stories that people met each other, and got married and left the ships and have families together. And you have stories, when people just went into adventures on the ships. And
Yeah,
from ship to ship, you have people that stay, that they're married back home, but they come working on the ships, and they're loyal to their partners back home, or they're cheating. That's also a very,
yeah.
so you have everything on the ship.
And then you have
Everything
some people that,
goes.
I mean, they really have no respect or of relationship, because I mean, they even cheat on the same ship at the same time when they're with somebody, and I've heard so many stories, and I was even in on a ship where there was a couple, and the guy was sleeping around with somebody else, and she caught him, and there was like all this drama, and of course, like one thing you can talk about or explain a little bit better is like Lincoln IDs. What is for the guests that don't
uh
know what Lincoln ID is,
Linking
or linking
IDs,
yourself with somebody else.
because we all on the ship, you all each of us have our ID number, which stays with us as long as we with that company. It stays with you all the time. You assign to that, and then because in the system, it's like your how do you call it, social security number on land. Like that's your number, and when they put this number in the computer, your file comes up, and everything, like every ship you worked on, how many paychecks you have, like every job, everything about you is like, it's like a file about you with this number. So if we call linking numbers, because if two people are in a relationships, or they can be even related, like brother and sister, and so, but they want to keep be putting on the same ship
Right. So
together,
so when you separate it and say you're from different countries,
different
they'll make it
countries.
possible, or they'll make it as
If you
as best
link,
as
you
possible
go to HR, and
through the
you
same
both
ship.
of
Yeah.
you both of you, and you said, okay, we are in a relationship, and we would like to stay together for our working
Future
career,
contracts.
entire future
Hmm.
contracts, and as long as we're on the ships. So what they do, they administration, they link their IDs, they put them together. So when they type, let's say you and I are linked, if they type my ID to give me my next assignment to go on another ship, automatically your ID will come up, and they will see, oh, this person is linked to that person. So if we send this one, the other person needs to go also on that ship.
Correct. Yeah.
So that's what linking ID means.
Which in a
And
perfect, ship life, it would work, but sometimes because of the amount of crew members from certain departments doesn't match, sometimes you get separated, so that's also a hard part about, having relationships, especially from, crew members from different countries, if you were like, say, for example, you go on vacation to the same country, you see them back home, but if you're in different countries and you again, you have the good part about joining the person on the ship, but if for whatever reason they're missing a crew member, whatever, they're going to send you to another ship, and it's harder to get together sometimes, which I've seen it many times, even with managers as well, that they're like, oh, but that's my fiance, and it took them like 3 or 4 months to be able to get that person to the ship, so that's another one of the hard parts of it. And then as far as linking IDs with the other crew members, that's also what we mentioned before, when it came to cabins, so most crew members, share a cabin with a roommate, and it's usually bunk beds. But if you're linked together, you usually get, or they try and put you in couples cabins, so that way you have a cabin,
true,
for that couple.
for the couples. But the we used to be talking one of the previous episodes about ship language, and I have to say that this linking
Yeah,
IDs became the official vocabulary of
linked.
crew. Are you linked with him? And then this is like a kind of like a proposal. Like, it's kind of like you engaged on the land.
Yeah,
Like, oh, would you like to link with me? That's like, would
that's
you
like
like
getting on one knee,
taking?
and saying like,
Yeah,
"Hey, would you
that's the
like to
thing.
link
That's
IDs?
like taking the
You
step
love me. You
toward
really love me."
forward. Yes, you don't link with someone if you don't think to spend future with them. So that's like kind of like a proposal. If you ask someone to link with you, that means like, oh, would you like to spend
The
some
rest of your
amount of your
contract
life?
with me.
Well, in your case.
Yeah. And see, the other funny thing about that as well is, sometimes, you meet somebody and yeah, you want to date, but once you move in together in the same cabin, so on top of that of being seeing each other 24/7, now you're in the same room, and that's when, if you're lucky enough to get a couple's cabin, then if something
Hmm.
happens that you guys break up during that contract, they can't easily just move you to another cabin because obviously there's a limit of cabins that there's available. So if you get in a fight with your significant other and there's no other cabins, you're stuck with that person until they either find you another cabin or till the end of the contract. So that's some of the awkwardness about being in a relationship on a cruise ship.
That
That
is that is exactly like marriage. I mean, like, you don't know
exactly,
unless
yeah,
until you start living with someone, you have no idea what they're about, and no
and
matter how
yeah,
much you love them. So it's kind of like a bingo, right? What did you get? It's all fun and games when we're in a crew bar, in a crew
until you
party,
see the
but
price, until you see the price.
once you see them, once you start waking up next to them, it's a different kind of story. And yeah, as you mentioned, many couples, they break up after they link, and after they move in together they break up. Or sometimes even I have the stories that one person goes to HR and said, oh, I would like to link with this girl, we're together and this, and then HR, smartly enough, called the other person, girl or boy, and asked them, okay, so you want to link with this? And then they're like,
Who the hell
no, for
that
God's
guy?
sake,
He's
no, I don't
following
want to
me.
link
He's
with them.
he's
Yeah.
harassing me.
Like,
Yeah.
maybe you give him the wrong impressions or something. I mean, but yeah,
Wow.
sometimes that happens also, because people, there's
Poor poor
misunderstanding, there's
guy or
more
girl,
feelings,
that you're like,
more
"Yeah,
feelings from
I think it's
one
getting
side.
serious. We're gonna link IDs," and the other person's like, "No, I don't. I don't. The
No,
person's
like,
crazy. I
we
don't want to be
slept
with them.
we
We
slept
only
twice. I mean, no.
we slept twice. It was just a kiss, Peter."
So there's
Like,
there's many examples of that.
oh
And
yeah.
we also have, I have to mention that some guests asked me, do we have people stay get pregnant on the ship? And the answer is they do.
Of course.
And there are not
We're
many.
not immune to getting pregnant on the ship.
Oh, absolutely not. And what are the rules? And we have, of course, if
Oh
the
yeah.
girl stays pregnant, and I knew several in my career, that they stay pregnant on the ship. They work as much as they want or they can,
Or they
and
allowed
then
to?
they will go to that maternal leave, and until and they are allowed to come back. I mean, unless you depends on the cruise line, but usually if you don't come back after 6 months, you have to start all over again the process.
All
You
right, the
have
whole
up to
process, yeah.
6 months. After six, you have up to 6 months to for vacation between the contracts, and if it's longer than that, then you usually have to start all over again the process. But except when the girl is pregnant, then she's kind of on that maternal leave, and she can stay longer on the ships and come back when if she decide when child is a little bit older. And but we had one housekeeping girl, I remember, on one ship. She was quite, she came on the ship maybe like month or two pregnant
Hmm.
already. And so but she said, I feel fine, I want to stay. And they allowed her. And she we would actually watch her belly grow over the net period of next 5 months while she was on the ship. But the month five, she was like really big. And but we all loved her. We called her, this is our company's baby. And they all took care of her. And she had really weird, I mean, dangerous job for pregnant lady. She was in housekeeping, and she was doing public areas, cleaning public,
Oh
and
my
she was
gosh,
dealing with
yeah,
a lot of dangerous chemicals, right?
right.
So they put her, so the company decided, okay, because she doesn't want to leave and she is doing her job. You mean, she wasn't laying down, she didn't moan and bitch and whatever, right? And so she and her husband was also on the ship. And so she was working. They gave her like a easy job, just maybe to go around and pick up, like if there's like a paper or something. No
Uh-huh.
chemicals, no cleaning, no nothing heavy.
Heavy,
And
yeah.
it was really interesting. And she was like a mascot for that contract for everybody. All crew knew her. And every time you see, like, oh, do you need, honey, do you need something, how do you feel, do you want me to get you something? And she was so nice. I think she was from Philippines. And she was so nice, such a nice girl. And to watch her getting into
Grow.
this motherhood and grow, it was really magical to me and to everybody on the ship. She
Right.
was a darling of the ship. And so there's stories like that also.
So do you
So
know,
there's
since you work with HR, are you, so you are allowed to come to the ship pregnant?
I
I-
well, I
If
don't
if
know.
you're if you're
To be
you're due to
honest,
have the baby.
you have to do your medical before you join the
Right.
ship, and you
Right.
send that medical too. So part of that medical is pregnancy test for girls, I guess.
Right.
But I don't think, maybe that, I don't know, was she got pregnant after the medical or something? She was
Ah, that
already
could have
pregnant
been,
when she joined the
because
ship.
normally they don't
Uh,
allow people that are pregnant to come.
no, I don't think she would come if she was like 2 months
Right.
pregnant or three. But she was maybe like in her pregnancy already after her medical, and she joined the ship. And then
Oh.
when she said, they gave her an option. They didn't want to just send. I don't think
Mhm.
they allowed to send her home forcefully. So, but she have right to get an easier job, and job that is not gonna put her in danger or the
Right.
baby. And they did. And it was new to me also. I never encountered that before or after that one example. That But it was really wonderful to see that, and then to witness that. But she didn't give birth on the ship, just so you know. I mean, she signed up before the due date. So but it was very interesting story to remember.
Yeah, because I
And
mean,
yeah.
and we mentioned also that, in the medical, they provide us, with condoms and whatnot, but also they don't provide us with the morning after pill, but I mean, you can purchase it there as well, so,
You
but I
can
think it's
purchase
like.
everything in Mexico.
No, but I mean, on the ship as well, they sell the morning after pill, in case, you forgot to get a condom, which are free there.
Do they?
And
They
yeah, they
don't.
do. I mean,
They do? Oh,
somebody,
wow. How
I
do
heard it
you
from
know
a,
that?
I heard it from a friend. And then I
How
saw a
come I
charge
didn't
on
know that?
I saw a charge on my card for $50. I'm like, interesting. That's one thing you don't want to see when you're on different
So
ships, a
you
charge of
stock up
$50.
one drawer with condoms and the other drawer with after
With
morning after pills, and just in case, you slip
yeah.
into her morning coffee,
Oh
just so she
gosh.
doesn't know.
Yeah, but I mean that's the dating on ships, it's a very and there's so many stories too, so I'm sure we'll have some people join us in
So
other
many fun stories.
relationship stories that some are
Which
crazy, some are fun, some are
but we
super
will
nice.
try to keep on positive stories, so we will not try to bum
Yes.
people out
Yes.
because
Because
of the
there's some
drama.
stories that you definitely don't want to hear. that
Yes,
but there's
the
some that
crazy
are
jealousy
also
stories.
super funny and super shocking as well, that you're like, "How in the world did that happen?" Like, remember we mentioned the bingo champion that won those $19,000 in the previous
Yeah.
episode, and that's right after that, he had got a girlfriend. They dated for like one cruise, and she signed off with all the money and fled the country. So, I mean,
Oh,
there's stories like that.
I
Tell
have
us.
a story. I have a story. It actually involves me, but not actively. It was I signed. It was such a trick. You have to be very careful with people because there was this group of people of us on one ship, and then I was very good friend with one South African girl, and then there was another girl from Macedonia, and she was also part of our group, and we all very close, very close. We everywhere we go together. There's like 5 or 6 of us, and then when I signed off the ship, and like week or 2 weeks later, I find out because I still stayed in touch with these friends, except with this girl from Macedonia, and she had ex boyfriend from Mexico somewhere. She was somewhere. He was on land, and so
That's
she
three
wanted
continents
to.
you're already talking about right there. How amazing is
Yes,
that, right?
yes,
Three
it
continents,
is.
and we're not even getting to the fun
And
part.
so she did this very nasty and very bad thing. She started collecting money from other friends, like, but discreetly. She would go to one of the friends, and she said, "Listen, this girl from South Africa, she's pregnant, and she wants to, but she doesn't want to keep the baby, and I don't know if she said it's my
Oh
baby or
my
something,
gosh.
but she needs to go to get abortion, but she needs money to get that. And so can you we're collecting money for her, but it's very discreet, don't tell anyone, this is, so
Oh, that is
how much can you
genius.
give?" Yeah. So this person gave her, like, I don't know, $200, and this person gave her $300, and this person gave her
Oh my
$100.
gosh.
So she collected, I don't know, like, I don't know, $2,000 $3,000, and then she signed off emergency to Mexico, in Mexico, and she never returned to the ships. And then
Holy cow.
this other girl, South African girl, she doesn't know anything about this. And then one of the friends approached her after a few weeks and asked her, like, "Okay, but can I know, I'm going home soon? Can I know when can I get my money back?" And she said, "What money?" And so this one explained to her, like, for the abortion. I mean, I thought you were pregnant. She's like, "What? Not what?"
No, I'm
So
just
this thing
fat.
exploded. This thing exploded on the ship, and HR and, like,
Oh,
office, everybody was involved in that. This was like it was like a fraud,
that
and
is
ingenious
genius, though.
frauds.
Oh
Yes,
my god, yeah,
this
and
girl
the way
was
that
so bad.
she said it is like, okay, keep it a secret because
Yeah, yeah,
obviously nobody's gonna talk about it, but
yeah,
they
yeah.
feel obligated, because it's a friend or whatever. Yeah, let's help her out, and let's
And
not
this
make
was
her feel bad.
these were my friends, and then I'm home, and 2 weeks later I hear this story, and I'm like, what the hell is going on?
I would
and
probably
and,
go
and
up
this happened.
to the girl and be like, oh, touch her belly and be like, "Oh, that's so sad. You don't want to keep it." Like, what? It's like, my burrito. I just ate a burrito. What are you talking about? It's like, you're gonna have it, the baby? It's like, "What baby?" Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
This is the first hand true story that happened. I mean, this is unbelievable, and there's so many stories like that, but we're gonna try to keep it
Yes.
fun and light more than this. But
Yes,
just so you know,
nothing
there's
too
many
serious and too
stories.
sad, and you're
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, you don't think that the dating on a ship
But
is
there
is
was no
wild,
baby.
but
That's the happy ending with that. So there was no baby at all.
oh,
So there was
wow.
no nothing. No one was pregnant. There was just
Oh,
like
that's
money
great.
fraud.
That's phew. That's a happy story right there. False alarm.
False
But
alarm.
yeah,
So
we'll talk about more. Maybe we'll have some people jump in and some of the future podcasts and tell us
and
some of their stories.
yeah, and we're gonna Jimmy and myself, we're gonna try to think for the future episodes, so the next few episodes, maybe to think of some unrelated, just funny stories, or stories like this that are fascinating, and
That's amazing.
we're just gonna share these stories with you guys, and maybe it's gonna be off the topic, but or we're not going to have the topic, but topic is going to be all these funny stories that we encountered on the ships. And so please join us
And
to
any
next
questions,
episode.
any things you want to know or that you're curious about, like feel free to comment and join the podcast at some point.
Share your own story publicly
Yes.
in the comments.
No names. You see, that's the thing. You know, we say
No
the sin,
names.
but not the sinner. That's the one rule.
No,
We're not gonna talk bad
we,
about anybody.
no, we're not gonna mention. If you know them, you know them.
If you know, you know
So
exactly.
yeah, that's true. That's true. So yeah, that's it. That's it from for this episode of Ship Happens with Jimmy and myself, and we hope to see you guys in the next one. All right. So
Have a
take
good
care
one.
and have a good one. Bye, guys.
Bon voyage.